Hey, what's up? Serena here from thriftdiving.com. So about 7 months ago, you remember this is what my shed looked like. It was being built. I've spent a lot of time doing the electrical, the insulation, so many projects on the inside. Well, today we are actually going to work on the pretty part of this. Whenever I thought about what my shed would look like, I always envisioned it with a lot of plants and flowers and having it look like something more than just a tiny home in the back of my backyard. I wanted it to blend into the backyard and just be really pretty and beautiful. So when I ordered the shed, I actually ordered it with a window box at each of the windows. Well, there's 6 of them. And as I started going to the store this week buying plants, I thought this can get kind of expensive. Most of these annuals were $5, $6 each. Some of them I was able to find for $5. But when you've got 6 planters, this can get kind of expensive. But the ones that are in the window planters, these are all annuals, so they're going to be planted each year. And the ones in front of the shed are perennials. So I wanted something that's going to come back year after year with lots of color, and it's going to look amazing. So in order to figure out in general where I wanted this garden bed to be, I used a piece of rope and just casually placed it where I thought I wanted to mark the lines. But before I could get started, I needed to cut down all that tall grass that was growing in front of the shed. Now, when the guys came to do the concrete foundation, they pretty much destroyed my backyard. There was grass seed that they put down, but it grew in some spots, it's bare in other spots, and it looks pretty horrible. You can see here. So I decided to just cut down any grass that was growing next to the shed, and instead of killing off the grass, which I probably should have done, maybe with cardboard, leaving that on there for about a week or so, I went ahead and just moved forward. I figured as long as I'm cutting the tall grass, then we can put down some weed block fabric, some newspaper, and the mulch. Hopefully it'll kill the grass. So the next step was to put all of the flowers, all of the plants, the shrubs in the general position where I think I'd want them. And then my husband used the edger attachment to just go ahead and create that line, that outline of where I wanted this to be. Now, here in Maryland, we have clay soil. It is so thick, it's not even funny. So I was going to use a cultivator just to try to break up the earth a little bit, add in a little bit of topsoil so that hopefully these plants don't die. I've always been known to have a black thumb, and it's really just been in the last few years that I've been trying to nurture this part of me because I love flowers, I love plants. And so the more that I do it, I find that I'm getting better results. But anyway, cultivating this would allow me to at least make it a little easier to mix in some of that soil. So the first thing I did was just use the cultivator to just break the top surface of that soil and then just putting down some garden soil and mixing that in. I really didn't buy very much, only had like 4 bags because when I got started, I didn't know what size garden this was going to be. So I probably should have mixed in a lot more, but I tried to keep it in the general location of where I knew the plants and the shrubs were going to be. And then we just dug holes based on where the previous layout was. When you saw me laying out all those plants, that's where we dug the holes. Now, you're supposed to dig holes twice as wide and twice as deep. I will admit, it sucks digging in clay soil. I don't know how to easily get that done. That's when I had to get my husband to help out. But even so, I felt that some of the plants, I really should have had him dig holes that were just a little bit wider. So I'm hoping, crossing my fingers, that all of these will survive and come back year after year. We'll see. We'll see. One of the big questions that I had was, do I use weed block fabric or do I use something else? And when I got to this point, well, let's just say when I finished this side, I realized, wait a minute, weed block fabric is not going to work. First of all, gardeners hate it. People who are real gardeners, they don't necessarily like this for this application. I don't believe. But also, you see these beautiful pink flowers here in the front. These are creeping phlox. And the research that I did showed, well, they're creeping. And if you've got weed block fabric there, they can't creep. So I ended up coming back the next day, removing some of this fabric and just using newspaper or just leaving it completely bare in those areas so that it actually can do what it does, which is to creep. The next day I decided I was switching to newspaper and I would also go back to the store and get some no-dig landscape edging. I liked this because it just helped to define this area a little bit more. And with the newspaper, I feel like coming back later, if I decide that I want to plant something else, it's not going to be difficult to dig through landscape fabric. And this is biodegradable. It's just going to break down over time. and it's not going to prevent those creeping phlox from actually creeping. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to expand and grow. So I actually liked using the newspaper. It was a breezy day outside, so I had to do it piece by piece instead of all at once. I didn't have any landscape stakes or pins to hold it down, so I just dumped the mulch on top of it to hold it in place. Now I'm probably going to expand this side of the garden just a little bit to accommodate one more plant that is coming. I ordered it. It hasn't come yet, but it is called a Arkansas Blue Star. I saw this plant a couple of falls ago, and it's just something I've not been able to stop thinking about. So it's, of course, green in the summer, but in the fall it turns this gorgeous, brilliant color. And a couple of falls ago, I noticed it behind my mom's apartment complex, and we took a picture in front of it, and I just haven't been able to stop thinking about it. So I said, if I ever plant around my home again, I'm going to get one. So sure enough, I'm getting one. So here I finished off the left side with some edging. And if you remember, this is what it looked like when I first bought the shed. Now it looks inviting. It really does look like a tiny home. You'll notice I still have the pallet in front. That's just so I don't have to step up 12 inches to get in. I am going to be building a porch there in the next couple of months. And I ordered this wind chime online. I absolutely love it. I'll leave a link down below for you. It's my affiliate link. And yeah, so I tried to vary up the plants a little bit with things that'll give color during the spring, but then things that will just stay green all year long, like the holly. And again, over here in the right-hand corner is where the Arkansas Blue Star will be. So I'll have to create a little bit more space for that. And those stepping stones in front of the shed, guess what? I found them in front of my house. They were like buried in the dirt, and I didn't even realize they would work so well for this space. So now I don't have to step in the mud going to and from my shed. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up, guys, and leave a comment. What do you think of my new garden? Do you have any garden tips for me moving forward? Okay, I will see you next video.